What is up? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And today, I have a special guest. So, this is actually a redo episode because we had technical difficulties the first time around where half the episode did not record. So she should have been the second guest, but anyway, she's back. So Coach Erin McDonald, she is an awesome coach. She does things the right way. And so I'm really honored to have her on here today and kind of talk about herself and her story, and we'll just kind of move on from there.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Erin. I own 8 Wellness Collective, and my main area of focus is helping women and men, but primarily women over the age of 35 overcome diet culture nonsense, improve their health, and lose body fat. I work with perimenopausal women. I work with women with PCOS, Hashimoto's, lots of autoimmune conditions. I've helped people reverse type 2 diabetes. So I have a passion for that functional part of health and wellness. I am a product of 90s diet culture. So I grew up in that heroin chic thin era, and we all wanted to be teeny tiny. The people we looked up to were rail thin, and so we all thought we could also be that. And we have to work really, really hard to reverse that mindset to become healthy, especially now that we have all reached our late 30s to mid 40s. So I work with women 35 to 55, and it is that age range of the mental block between under eating, overdoing cardio, not eating carbohydrates, and not having a good relationship with your body. So I struggled with that for a large part of my younger years. So through my teens, into my 20s, and then even into my early 30s. And then in my mid 30s, I was 40, 50 pounds overweight, even though I was working out 5, 6, 7 times a week, if not more. And it was mostly nutrition. I was trying to starve myself. So I'd eat like 1 meal a day, but then I would also consume a lot of alcohol. So, like, I was in full denial of alcohol calories and how that was not only harming my physical body, but it was harming my mental health. And so, back in 2018, 2019, I got into bodybuilding, and I went from overweight to losing 45, 50 pounds, and really, like, kind of coming in like into my own, like finally learning about how nutrition works in the body. I started with a meal plan. I stopped drinking for about 11 months to improve my relationship with alcohol, see if I could even handle alcohol anymore. And I competed twice that year. I did not do well. I didn't have enough muscle. Turns out muscle doesn't just exist underneath the layer of body fat. You have to build it. I didn't realize that, even though, I was working out 5, 6 days a week. I just figured that the muscle was underneath there. It wasn't, but I still was proud of myself, obviously. But really what it did was set off a jumping point for me to really understand that nutrition was the variable that I was missing, and that I was self-sabotaging with under-consuming food, overdoing exercise, and managing my anxiety with alcohol. So I had to work on all 3 of those things, which is what brought me to where I am now and how I coach my clients today.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's like super common. Most, if not all, coaches have struggled with probably body image, relationship to food, tried some type of bad diet, and then that's what kind of led them on their journey. So that totally makes sense. So how did you transition from, working out 7 days a week, not liking what you see in the mirror, to going all in on a bodybuilding show?
Well, if I'm honest, I was really drunk on Thanksgiving. I used to work in the service industry, and so I didn't really have a whole lot of like holidays off. So I didn't go to like where my family was. We did have Thanksgiving Day off, and so a friend of mine who also worked in she was working in hospitals, so kind of same thing. She had that day off as well. We went out to a nice dinner, and then we went to the only bar in town that was open and drank wine all night long. And I ended up sitting next to a friend of mine who is a past bodybuilding athlete. And I was like, you know what? After, like I had, 7 glasses of wine or something ridiculous like that. I'm like, I want to be a bodybuilder too. And she was so nice. I mean, I did not look anywhere near what a bodybuilder might look like. Again, I was 40, 50 pounds overweight, and I was doing all these things to like cover up my body. And she was so nice to me, and she was like, you should totally do it. And so I had a trainer, and the next day I went into the gym to my trainer and I said, I want to compete in bodybuilding next year. And he was like, what? But we did it. He challenged me to start in that moment. So that was Thanksgiving. I had a trip planned to Costa Rica at the beginning of December. So after I got back from my trip to Costa Rica, kind of like sort of half through the holidays, started my meal plan. And he's like, if you can do it, I don't expect you to do it the week of Christmas, but if you can do it for most of December, then I'll take you through a prep. And so we did. And I did it. And I started a prep in January. The plan was to compete in March. So a 12-week prep. There was no way. I didn't realize that how lean I had to get. I didn't realize how much time it would take to lose that amount of weight, because even though I had attempted to lose weight before, I didn't ever really think of the number. It wasn't like I want to lose 40 or 50 pounds. It was more to like, I just need to get some of this body fat off. So I would do Whole30s. I would do, all of these things that I did. And so anyway, by March, I knew I wasn't ready. So we pushed it to July. I competed in July, did not do well. And I wanted to compete again. I'm still proud of myself. I still looked good. I still lost 40 pounds. I completely changed my life. And then I competed again and I won 10th place, which is essentially like second to last. Like there's 10th place and then like everybody else that competes that's last is in like one category. So I did technically place. And yeah, that just kind of sprung it forward. And then I had to, of course, reverse engineer the system because I didn't want to eat a meal plan forever. So I had to learn how to like really track macros and how to fit in fun food and see if I could have a relationship with alcohol. My dad's in recovery. So that's the thing, like alcoholism runs in my family. So then I was afraid that maybe it was a problem for me. Turns out I can handle alcohol just fine. Now I have 1 or 2 a week or none. And on date night, and that's it. And I don't need more than that. And that's from drinking probably 5 to 7 a day every single day, except for the days I was excessively hungover because I drank more than that. So it was a lot. It was a lot of alcohol. So just therapy, coaching, time, self-reflection, and a lot of, just putting my head down and doing the work and getting to where I needed to go is what brought me from a over-consuming, overweight individual to a fully functioning nutrition coach, personal trainer. And hopefully soon, I'm working on some like functional medicine stuff right now, and we got a lot going on.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I kind of wanted to piggyback off the you expected like to lose like 40 pounds in 12 weeks because I think that's crazy common. Like most people sign up for coaching, they're like, this will be done in like 3 months, right? I'm like,
Yep.
you're 50 pounds overweight. That's probably going to take at least like a year of effort, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I had no idea. And I was kind of in denial, like most people are, of like how much weight I actually needed to lose, especially for bodybuilding. Now, I got very, very small. Like my goal weight was 115 pounds. Now I sit around 135 pounds. So I've put on a lot of muscle in that time
Yeah.
frame, and I still like have maintained a leaner body composition. So that's a thing too that most people don't realize, is that the goal weight probably is higher than what you think it is. You need muscle mass, but either way, it's going to take a lot of time to get there. If you need to lose 40 or 50 pounds, yeah, I mean, we're looking at a year's time. I told a gal on the internet who was talking to me the other day, she showed me some pictures of essentially what looked to be, I don't know if you're familiar with the different categories of bodybuilding, but wellness is a female category where with the women have bigger glutes and quads. So they're essentially like this, shoulders are built out, but like smaller upper body, obviously toned abs, small midsection, and very large muscular quads and glutes. And she's showing me these pictures, and of course these women are beautiful. And I said, well, it isn't impossible, but it'll probably take 3 to 5 years. So, if if you're
Yeah.
down, like let's go. And she got mad at me and stop talking to me. But I mean, it's when we're facing reality of what we want, especially with those extreme body compositions, because what women don't realize is we don't really put on muscle super easily. So like a lot of women will be like, I don't want to lift weights, I'm going to get bulky. Like you have to try to get bulky. And I wouldn't necessarily say that these photos were bulky. They wouldn't be a professional wellness athlete. They'd be more like a novice wellness athlete. But women's glutes and quads don't just grow that big without eating in a surplus for a long time and lifting a lot of weight for a long time, and then going through processes of fat loss in order to stay lean in the midsection. So it's like that's 5 years easily. I mean, I said 3 on the short end. If your genetics are good and you can put on some bulk, and I've been lifting weights for 12 years now, and I don't have glutes and quads like that, and I would love to. So if that tells you anything, but I'm also not willing to, and this is just my personal preference because I didn't want to be a wellness athlete. I'm not really willing to put my body under that much physical stress of like surplus cut. Like I'd rather build at maintenance and let it be slow, and then cut if I want to at a higher caloric level, less stress on my body. I'm in my 40s. We can't really take that much stress once we get to 40 plus anyway. So it's, everybody has to be realistic about their timeline. But even for general, like I just want to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds, like we're still looking at 6 months to a year.
Oh yeah, at least. I just did a workshop on Wednesday, and it was called Why You're Probably Not Eating Enough and How to Fix It. Because women come to me and they want to look toned, and they've been doing fad diets for years. So they probably don't have any muscle mass. And so I was talking about, you actually have to eat food to build muscle to get that physique that you want. And I feel like most people don't think that. It takes a lot of time. Like I was a D1 athlete, so I've been lifting for, 12 plus years. And I had a very unhealthy relationship to food. And so I was kind of always in a surplus for like a really long time. So I have built a good solid foundation of muscle. So when I go on a cut, like you can see that. You can noticeably see that muscle, but I didn't just decide to eat less food and then boom, I look this way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think well, we do women a disservice in marketing, especially, when in my era growing up, we saw commercials for like the Bowflex or like the tone, like the gazelle thing, and these women were muscular, and we still do it. The ads for now, we don't have as many like crash diets because we've transitioned more into pharmaceutical weight loss. But you'll see, it used to be Optavia, and you'd see this like jacked dude or this super muscular woman, and the diet was 800 calories a day, and like it's just. And then on top of that, they market no exercise. So why would a general person not believe that muscle lives underneath the layer of body fat they have? It's like, I mean, those of us with the education know that now, but like most of us don't have that education to not know that we just don't have that muscle there, and we have to build that muscle. And if you're over the age of 30, muscle starts rapidly declining too. So like the more and more we're cutting and trying to restrict, the more and more we're doing damage, and then you get the weight off. And that's what happened to me with bodybuilding. I got to 115 and I was like, where's my delts? my butt was flat. I was smaller, but I didn't really look the way that I thought that I was going to look. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap. It's like, that doesn't just exist underneath your frame, and it's not going to happen with the Stairmaster if you want big legs. It's going to happen with heavy weights over time, and eating enough and eating the correct things. And not like, when we say eating enough, we have to also like, we're talking about protein, and we're talking about whole foods, and we're talking about fiber. We're not talking about just like eating to eat. It's not that old like bodybuilding bulking, like where they used to see them just eat fish and rice, and then the rest of the time they were eating like burgers and pizza, and that's not really how it works either.
Yeah, and that's because when people hear bulk, they picture that, like eating an obscene amount of like crap, and it's like, no, it can be like 100 or 200 calorie like surplus, and you're just adding a little bit more rice or adding a little bit more chicken or whatever to your plates. But yeah, it's something that most people don't know about. And I, like, when I was an athlete and I was doing all that stuff as a kid, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm very lucky that they had us strength training and that I had a poor relationship with food because I always overate, and that put me in the position that I am now. But I didn't even realize what I was doing till probably like 5 years ago or so. But yeah, it's the misinformation and like this scammy like marketing and stuff that's out there is so terrible. Even like still, like I was listening to your podcast yesterday at the gym, and you guys were talking about what was it? Like there was someone who was selling like macro plans, and she said, "Oh, I look this good because I follow these," but she was like on Ozempic, and like that's
yeah. I mean, there's always been lying in the space, and also the lack of understanding of genetics. There are women and men who genetically are just more muscular by default. That's just how, like, their dad and mom are probably more muscular, and so that's a thing too. So those genetic elite people are the ones we see on social media, and now we can cover some of that up. We can cover up some. I think that this particular, I didn't know who she was until the controversy came out. I don't even remember her name, but she used to be a big keto guru, I guess, and then she transitioned to macros, and she made millions selling macro plans, and then all of a sudden she started getting even smaller. And then people were like, well, how are you getting like this lean? She was always lean, but she was getting smaller and smaller. And she wasn't telling anybody that she was using a GLP-1. And I have not utilized a GLP-1 supplement. I lost 40 plus pounds at 35, 36 years old, the old fashioned way. But I also do not hold any judgment. I do, however, think that if you are using one and you're marketing yourself in any way publicly, you need to tell people that that's what you're doing. And so I think that's especially if you have a very large social media following. It's different if you're just like a mom from Ohio that has like 12 people on her Instagram. But if you have millions of followers and you're selling plans, you need to let people know what you're doing. And celebrities, I think they need to let people know what they're doing as well, because it needs to be realistic for most people. Like, I think I mentioned Kelly Clarkson. She is somebody who I love or loved. I judge her a little bit now, but she told people she lost weight by playing with her kids more and eating more protein. Yeah, that she went from overweight. She struggled with her weight for a really long time, and she openly talked about her weight struggles. And then she was thinner, I mean, just months later. And it was very obvious that she was using some sort of pharmaceutical. It's fine. She probably has a trainer and a personal chef and a nutritionist, and she has access, like financial resources that give her that. She's probably doing it in a healthy way, but she, like, when another mother is looking at that and they're like, well, I'm eating more protein, do I not play with my kids enough? Like, that it's kind of a really sad thing to do to women in general. She needed to be like, no, I'm taking a GLP-1 supplement or pharmaceutical, they're not supplements, and I have a personal chef and the trainer that comes to my house, and I'm working with a nutritionist on a specific nutrition plan. And everyone would be like, well, I can't afford that, but maybe I'll try the GLP-1, or like, can you give me your meal plan, or whatever, whatever the case may be. But like, the dishonesty is what gets to me every time. And I see it with colleagues of ours, like people, nutrition coaches, especially in the perimenopause state. It's really easy to take advantage of women in perimenopause, saying that your fat loss is blocked or your hormones are blocked, or like nothing is fucking blocked. Like, it's harder to lose weight in your 40s. Yes. But most of it has to do with not having enough muscle and not being in a caloric deficit.
Yes. Yeah. And different things play a role in that. So if you're not sleeping, if your stress is crazy, you probably have more cravings. You're probably overindulging on the things that are going to negatively impact your results. You have less self-control. You probably have less energy to move around. You have less energy to go and push in your strength training sessions if you're doing it. So there's like all these other things that come into play, and it is really terrible. Like, people marketing off of that. I wish there were more coaches like us that were more honest on social media and that like
we just don't make any money.
yeah, that's true.
Ethics, but it's not true. I'm half joking, but ethics are hard in this industry because the narrative of broken sells, unfortunately.
Yeah, or quick fix.
Yeah. Quick and broken. Yeah. You are broken and I have the thing that will fix it quickly.
Yeah, Utah. So I do a lot of like in-person networking, and Utah's like the capital of like MLMs. So Optavia is still like quite popular here,
Oh,
and people will pay for those things instead of like coaching or personal training and other things, and then
yeah.
they keep going back and forth to it, and I'm like, ah, it's so frustrating. So I I wish like and I don't even know why that's still around. Like I thought it was antiquated. Like, and then I show up to a networking thing and someone's like selling that, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I thought this was gone.
Yeah, well, I think some people are still, I don't see it as much online anymore because of the GLP-1s. They started selling GLP-1s. Now Weight Watchers is going out of business. So like
Oh
the
wow.
GLP, yeah, they're filing for bankruptcy. I don't know if that means they're going
No.
out of business. I'm not really sure what that means in like a publicly traded like corporation like that, honestly. If that just means that they're like recombining, I don't know. Anyway, same thing with Beachbody. They filed for bankruptcy because I think now there's two sides now, right? There's the health side and the pharmaceutical side, and there's a middle. There are people who are utilizing pharmaceuticals and still like learning how to eat correctly and building muscle, and so you can have both with that. I know that like I've helped people lose up to 105 pounds naturally.
Oh wow.
So I know that it's possible to do it without that. But again, I think we are getting away from more of those quick fix things because we have introduced it in a shot, and there's nothing that's more quick fix than like just a shot. But at the same time, not everybody is eligible still for the pharmaceutical. And I don't know, I mean, in Utah especially, I know there's a big Mormon community, and I think that maybe that would be looked down upon. I don't know, just
No.
depending on.
Super popular. It's really popular. There's a lot of med spas. Like, it's like probably capital for med spas, capital for plastic surgery and spray tans. It's like very face culture. So they're really, really popular. And that's another hurdle I've had, helping
Yeah.
people, because I probably cost about the same monthly if it's not like insured. But then people are like, well, this will be like really fast. And I'm like, but you're going to lose all your muscle because you don't know how to eat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the things that people have to learn the hard way, and some people learn. The problem is, and I know I don't remember how old you are. I know you're younger than me, but when you get to your 40s and you don't have muscle mass, putting on muscle mass and changing your relationship with food is really hard. It's hard at 25, it's hard at 30, it's hard at 35, but at 45, it's a whole nother ball game because we're dealing with drops in estrogen and progesterone and testosterone naturally, and we then don't have muscle mass, so then we're dealing with insulin resistance, and there's all kinds of things going on. So it's some women are learning that the hard way. I had somebody block me on TikTok yesterday because they told me they were on HRT and they're lifting in the gym and they just can't get anywhere because I had posted something saying the reason why you can't lose weight at 40 is because you're not lifting weights and you're not eating enough protein and you're not in a caloric deficit, essentially. And it's the problem is that you have to reverse engineer a lot of the process, and people have to be patient. In your 40s, sometimes you have to put on muscle before you can lose body fat. And nobody wants to do that. That's a really hard thing to convince somebody who wants fat loss now to achieve. And so then we're just going through the vicious cycle of losing the fat with Optavia, losing the fat with GLP-1s and muscle, and we're losing muscle naturally. And so then when that weight comes back on, it comes back on more so. So you lose 50, you gain back 60, and you're like more metabolically damaged. Your relationship with food is worse. Your gut health is worse. And so then you come to me and I'm like, okay, so we need a year to build back muscle. And I don't even know if we're going to be able to lose body fat in that time. I mean, probably, but we have to do a lot of like, and I hate the term fixing because it's not, people aren't broken. It's just returning them to health. And so but it's hard pressed. And so like, if you're out there listening to this and you are, how old are you, Emma?
I'm 27.
Okay. If you're 27, you start now.
Yes. Start now.
Yes. And don't wait until you're in your 40s and you have to, like, I was lucky enough to do it in my mid 30s and it was hard then. And if I were to, it's hard for me even now. I was talking about this on the podcast episode that's going to come out next week. The way that my body responds to different things now, like just we went out to eat for dinner on Wednesday night, which we don't normally do. It was a friend's birthday and I felt like trash all day yesterday. And I didn't do anything crazy. We were home by 9:30. We're in bed by 11. Usually we're in bed by 10. But just that small variable was enough for me to not feel good. And that's just because and I'm healthy. So things change at 40 when your hormones start changing. And I had 2 margaritas, I will be honest. And it's just, I can't handle alcohol the same way. I won't have any more alcohol this week, but usually like in my 30s, if I had 2 margaritas, it wouldn't even faze me the next day. So you gotta get it done when you're 27 and keep the habits into your 40s so that you have the habits. And when things start to get weird in your body, you at least still have the habits that will keep you in the body composition that you want to be in and the health that you want to have as well.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing is because we don't see those like negative repercussions. Like if I go, well, actually I'm special. If I have my favorite drink is a beer. If I have a beer the next day, I feel like crap. So I do notice a difference, but a lot of people they don't notice anything. And so for them, it's like, why do anything now? I'm great. I'm still thin. I like the way I look, and I don't even have to lift weights or eat protein or whatever. But like 10 years down the line, it's not going to be that way, and you probably set yourself up for a lot of hurdles in the future.
Yeah, we see that a lot too. And a lot of the work I do, I have women come to me in their mid 40s who are like, I never had to watch my weight before. And then all of a sudden overnight, I gained 20 pounds. And I'm like, well, that's because you didn't prioritize health. And then we're looking, at what their food quality is. And it's the same as it was before, which is not great. No one's eating poorly, but it's 60 grams of protein a day. We're going to Starbucks a lot. We're running through the Chipotle drive-through, and your body is going to catch up to it no matter what. Even if you were somebody who was thinner, and that was not my genetics. If I continued the way that I was going, I would have been way more overweight than I was. Those were not my genetics. I was also working out, so I had like that benefit too. At least I had that habit already in place. But there's people who are naturally thin and not prioritizing their muscle mass and not realizing the repercussions of it later. And we don't talk to women about that at all. And those people are really hard to get on track too, because they're really uncomfortable in gym spaces because they've never had to be in there before. They don't want to because they've never had to before. And now we're dealing with, they're almost harder than people who have dieted their whole lives, because the people who have dieted their whole lives have some awareness of food and protein and eating fruits and vegetables. But these people are like, I used to just eat Panda Express every night for dinner and I was fine. And it's like, well, that's why all of a sudden your gut health, you turned 40 and your gut was like, no, we can't do this anymore because you have no more muscle and your estrogen's messed up, your progesterone's dropped and your testosterone is gone. And so we don't have any tissue to absorb these empty calories.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I also do not have the genetics. Like if I eat whatever I want, I will be fat. Like it's just I had to when I was a D1 athlete, like my freshman year, I was probably like 215. Like I probably should be around like 170. So like pretty overweight, a lot of inflammation, very puffy. You could tell like I look like a different person in like my picture from I don't know how long was that? Almost 10 years ago. Wow. But anyway, so I always kind of had to focus on those things once I realized, oh, it's my nutrition. Hey, I'm eating a pint of ice cream every other day. Maybe I stop doing that and see how this works, you know? Um, yeah, and I have some friends here, so I'm building a gym in my garage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just to train. Well, my husband doesn't like to go to the gym, so we're partially for him. But I want to like train local friends and people just to kind of help them see the benefits and maybe learn
Yeah.
how to do some stuff on their own. Because I have friends they've always been thin and they're like, well, I don't have to worry about it. And I'm like, you have no idea what's coming for you.
Yeah, I say tell them to listen to this episode because
Yes.
I'm 42. I'll be 43 in October, and it didn't happen to me because I was exercising through my 20s. I did gain weight. That's my genetics, but in my practice, I've seen a lot of women who come in and say, I all of a sudden overnight gained 30 pounds and now I can't get it off. And then they start doing Noom and Optavia and Weight Watchers. And then they're losing more and more muscle mass and they don't understand food quality and they don't understand, they cook based on what their kids want to eat usually. And so it's like you have to teach a 45-year-old person how to rethink their entire operating system when it comes to movement and food. And that is really hard to do. And it's really hard as the coach, but it's really hard to accept it. And that's the thing too, is like when you have to accept that you have spent your entire life causing this damage, even though you looked good, it's even harder to come, like it's different when you were 50 pounds overweight and you're kind of yo-yo dieting, and that feels a little bit different. And usually those women are more receptive to feedback because they're like, I'm just done dieting all the time. Like, tell me what to do so that I can stop doing this. But the ones that lived in bodies that were naturally thinner, they don't want to be told what to do, and they don't want to be told that it was the junk that
Yeah.
and the imbalanced meals and the lack of lean muscle mass and the fact that you refused to hit the gym or you went to like bungee fitness classes on the weekends every once in a while, like, I'm not yeah, there's a lot of problems
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I noticed that with men too, though. Like there's men will come to me too. I actually had a like consult yesterday with someone and he was saying like, yeah, I just always ate whatever I wanted. And now all of a sudden I'm getting a gut. And it's like, yeah, because you don't exercise and he like eats fast food all the time. So it's like,
yeah.
well, it's gonna catch up to you when your testosterone like decreases and you're probably moving less because you have a desk job and you have other priorities, so you stop doing the fun activities that you used to do when you were younger. So those are the hardest people
They
for
are.
sure.
Age is the thing, and I think the sooner we realize that and just accept it, it doesn't mean that we can't. I am, and my clients, I mean, I coach women going through perimenopause, in menopause, postmenopause, and every single one of them has been able to lose body fat and gain muscle when they follow the protocols. So and that's despite being like, some of them are on HRT, some of them aren't, some of them are on anti-anxiety medication, some of them are on nothing, like, because we get that a lot too. There's a lot of pharmaceuticals, not just GLP-1. It's like, well, my doctor told me because I was on an SSRI that I can't lose body fat, which is not true. It just makes you slow down, and you probably have cravings, so you're eating a little bit more, and you might be a little bit inflamed, but they're like, nothing really negates the law of thermodynamics. You just have a slower BMR because you don't have enough muscle, and I think people need to be educated, and they don't want to be educated on what's happening. So, like, again, if your audience is mostly like 25 to 27, listen to us, because it's going to be harder when you're 40. Believe me, I do it every single day, and it's hard for me, and I am in love with it. So
Yeah, definitely. I honestly don't know what my audience is, but I have a very broad audience because I coach people from like 20 to 75 right now. I'm
okay.
trying to figure out where my niche is. It's probably going to be like 30s to like 60s, kind of more like range. But yeah, I have people from all over, but definitely going to send this to my friends who are my age so that they hear it from somebody else and not myself.
I wish somebody would have told me at 27 that I didn't know. I didn't start lifting weights until I was about 31. And even then, it was more like group style fitness classes. And I didn't understand progressive overload until I was 35. And if I would have known at 27, I would have saved myself a decade of problems. And so I just wish I would have.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I like, for COVID, if it wasn't for COVID, I would not be where I am today. And COVID was terrible. That was a terrible time, but that's what got me into this stuff. And because we couldn't see people, so I had to find other hobbies and stuff. But otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. I'd probably be very overweight right now. So
COVID's actually what got me into the industry as well. So
oh,
yeah, I know a lot of really bad things happened during COVID, but for me, I'm grateful for it. I'm kind of introverted as an individual, and so I didn't really mind being at home. And yeah, I quit my restaurant job. I was operations director of 3 restaurants, and it was terrible to be in restaurants at that time. And so
I'm
I just
sure.
started I had gone through my bodybuilding journey and my weight loss journey the year before. And so I just started
Oh,
getting certified in a bunch of stuff because I was at home doing nothing, and I couldn't clean the house more or watch another episode of TV. And there was no gym to go to. So I started a business, and we built out a home gym studio, and I started training people there. And from there,
that's
it
awesome.
transitioned to fully online. And yeah, we're here now.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for COVID too. Sometimes, it's like a weird thing to say, but that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
It's
really cool.
bittersweet. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, on that note, where can my audience find you? And what would you like to leave everybody with today?
Well, let's just go back to ladies, especially, but dudes too. Strength train. Understand
Yes.
what your body needs for health, for building lean muscle mass, eat enough protein, eat enough fiber, pay attention to your mental health. That's a huge part of this as well,
Yes.
because it's not all about being thin, it's about being well, and we can't be well without also like connecting our minds and our bodies. If you want to find me, I'm on all the social medias. I'm Coach Erin McDonald on both Instagram and TikTok. And I am on Facebook. I have a Fit Over 40, it's Fit at 40-ish Facebook group. So if you're in that category, hit me up. And yeah, we'll talk about fitness over 40.
Sweet. I will put your stuff in the show notes so people
Thank
can
you.
find the links there. You're welcome. And thanks so much for being on the podcast. So
Yeah,
please,
thanks for having me back.
yeah, you're welcome anytime. So please, people, if this resonated with you or you know someone who's in their mid-20s who is thin and does not do anything for their health, please send it their way. Well, that might come off weird, but share this with your friends, family members who you think would benefit from it. And please tag us, rate the podcast. I greatly appreciate it. And on that note, see you guys next time.
Bye.